Hello, my fellow patriots. This is Alex with Disabled Vets Perspective. I know it's been a while. I've kind of been a little quiet to see how things are going. And, yeah, things are going. No need to be quiet anymore because I kind of got everything figured out. I know what they're doing. Now, what is happening here is we are seeing a shortage of supplies, goods and supplies. This is by design. Now, Florida and Texas have already said that they would allow their ports to be wide open so the ships just show up over there and they'll start getting unloaded. But no, if you notice, none of the ships have been moving off of the West Coast or off the East Coast. They're all just sitting there, which tells me somebody's paying these people to sit there. This is a choreographed event designed to destroy the economy and to put the American people into a weakened state. You go to the stores and the shelves are empty. This is all done on purpose. The interesting thing is their plan is to just destroy this U.S. economy, bring us to our knees so that the Chinese can just mosey on in here and take over and come to the rescue and all that. So, it's all a well-planned event. And if you don't think this is worldwide, you're not looking at a big enough picture. This is designed to collapse this planet, to bring in the Great Reset that used to be known as the New World Order, until they realized that that was losing its popularity among the people, and the pretty little phrase, people are hip to the sham, you know what I mean? But what's going on now with people being forced out of their jobs? Look at who are being forced out of their jobs. Military, police, fire, first responders, medical personnel. That is a pretty good start if you want to destroy an economy and to bring a people to their knees, because the crime will go through the roof because there won't be any police to stop it, and the injuries are going to lead to deaths because there won't be any medical teams to put people back together again when bad things happen. The military can be a double-edged sword, though. We're going to get to that. But what about firefighters? If you don't have a 5-acre property with a 6-inch well and your own fire hydrant heads, what are you going to do if something burns? You're going to have to just sit there and watch, because the firefighters are going to be doing their own thing. They're not going to have the people to do it. So all of these are steps to bring the world to their knees. But the Kool-Aid drink that's being forced upon all of the victims of this country, people are starting to get pretty hip to that too. The ones that aren't going to drink the Kool-Aid are never going to drink the Kool-Aid. The deep state knows this, and they had that in their contingency. Now, I can't guarantee this, but I use a little thing called logic. I take the big picture and I dissect it a little bit until I come up with something that sounds logical. And if you use logic, you tend to come out with a reasonable scenario. So in this logic, they knew there was going to be a population that wasn't going to fall in line. And their plan is that when all of this topples and everything finally hits, they're going to have their villains. And, you know, they're the superheroes. Every superhero's got to have a villain. And we, the non-Kool-Aid drinking people of this country, are going to be the villain. So they will take their masses of people that comply and they will sick them upon the people who don't. So, you know, we will be rejected from society. We will be hunted anytime we go out into society. And the mobs, the zombies, will be coming for us when this is all done. So you have to be prepared to defend yourself in any form or fashion, either loud weapons or silent ones. You should have both. But also improvised weapons that, can protect your perimeter. You need to be prepared for that, because they're not going to show up to disrupt your life in onesies and twosies. They're going to show up in overwhelming numbers, so that you'll be in the fight for your life. And you may win it, you may not, but there's no reason to ever give in to tyranny, because if they don't kill you while they're putting the plan together, you can bet your ever-loving ass that they will kill you after their plan is done, because they're not going to put up with people who are going to be resistant to their tyranny, and they will do whatever it takes to quell that resistance. Now, going back to the military, here's a little funny thing. I'm former military. I'd say moderately to well-trained. I haven't forgotten any of my training. It's the way they designed the training program. It becomes a part of your inner being. You are incapable of forgetting what you have learned. They went through this for probably thousands of years on how to perfectly train a soldier. And, by now they've pretty mastered that. Not, I was 30 years ago that I was in, but I guarantee you, I haven't forgotten anything. I can drive every piece of military equipment that exists, except for planes. Anything with tracks or wheels on it, I can drive it. That was what I did, mostly. But there are many people like me that can jump into any piece of military equipment and take off and go use it like they drove it yesterday. So they're kicking people out of the military. Unless you're a Marine, then they're threatening to general court-martial your ass, which could lead to a life sentence or a death penalty. God help you, brothers. You got to hold your ground, and sisters as well. We got to hold our ground, because when this pops off, we're going to need all of y'all. Now, they're kicking them out of the military, and they're dumping them out here into civilian land. Well, guess what? That's where the rest of us veterans are, out here in civilian land. So what they're doing is they're depleting the U.S. defensive force, but they're increasing the civilian population force. So they're cutting their own throat, because they're taking away their defense. The military is there to defend our government and defend our bankers. It's never really been there to defend our people, because we've never had a war on our homeland. We always went somewhere else, except for obviously the Revolution and the Civil War. Those are back. But we've never had to fight for the protection of our own citizens on our soil. So we are a military designed to protect the elites and to protect the bankers and the investors in war. So what they're doing is they're dumping their personal protection out here into the civilian world, and they're pissing them off on the way out the door. But what that does is it gives us a massive civilian fighting force that's capable, trained, willing, and able to do whatever it takes to defend our Constitution. We swore an oath, the same oath that the satanic worshipers up there in D.C. swore. They turn against it, but lying to them is a natural thing, and all they have to do is cross their little fingers behind their back when they're saying their oath, and they go, oh yeah, I said my oath. They turn against the people, they turn against the Constitution, and they have no qualms about it. But people with true hearts that really do want to protect and serve the people of this country, that have taken the oath and have sworn to it, mind, body, and soul, under God, those are the people that will fight to defend it. Now, I want you to also understand something else. The Constitution has been completely tossed out. We are not acting under constitutional law. You are not protected under the rights that were given to you by God and protected by the Constitution. That's a little scary, but that's a fact. You need to understand that when they say mandates, bylaws, they use very tricky, creative, unique words. The Freemasons use bylaws, mandates, rules. What we are right now is we are being controlled, and we are under the bylaws and the mandates of the Freemasons. Now, I have a book from a 30-degree Freemason. Not supposed to. That kind of stuff is supposed to stay hidden. But we have gone away from the Constitution, and we are now under the bylaws and the mandates and the rules of the Freemasons. This has been the plan of the Illuminati. That's how we will be controlled under the New World Order, is through the bylaws, through the mandates. It's words. All you have to do is understand the words that they use. They can't say that, they say, oh, this is law. But before that, they say these mandates are to be enforced. Well, in the Freemasons, they enforce their mandates. That's their creed. That's their sworn oath, is to uphold their bylaws and their mandates. So we are under Freemason rule right now. We will not have the Constitution back until there is a form of hostile takeover. And that's what you have to do if you got a corporation. You got to perform a hostile takeover and get control of the corporation. Well, the corporation supposedly dissolved, but that opens them up to even more authority under the Freemasons as opposed to the Constitution. Now, a lot of this is going to be just mind-bending thought, but the whole process is to think. It's to have a big picture drawn before you, and then you take the time to dissect that picture, learn the stuff yourself, find the information yourself. I've always said, don't believe a word I tell you. Just listen to me and then do your own research. Get in there and find out for yourself. Prove me wrong. I love that shit. If somebody corrects me, I don't get all huffy and puffy. Oh, you didn't want to. You just screw that. If you find that I did something wrong, I encourage it, because that's how we all learn. So take the time, look at the big picture, and get in there and do your own research and prepare for this crap, because the zombies are coming for you. You are in the way of the New World Order, and their zombies are going to be willing to do their bidding, because they'll make sure it's uncomfortable at the highest possible levels. People will be wiping their asses with their bare hands if the deep state has their way. And so it's going to be interesting. But protect you and yours. Circle your wagons. One more note. By the way, I have a bit of a cold. I don't think it's the Rona. But no, it's just seasonal crap, so I sound pretty funny. But we need to be prepared. We need to be thinking about ourselves, our families. And just the last note I'll make is, it's time to close your circles. That sounds brutal, but this is not the time to bring new members into your inner sanctum, your defense circle, because the FBI is looking for ways to infiltrate patriot groups of any kind and any size. So we are the enemy of the deep state. We are the enemy of the New World Order, and they want nothing more than to eliminate us, and they'll do whatever it takes to make that happen. So close your circle, circle your wagons, get your teams prepared for defense. Make sure that you have some way of communicating between your members of your team that is not got to do with the internet. You don't want any form of communication that can be tracked, and You want to be able to do things quietly. Pencil and paper. You can still use a stamp. They're not going to be checking mail yet, but you can bet that's coming. But right now it's time to make sure you have your provisions, make sure you have your defense system, make sure you have your support lines, make sure that people can get a hold of each other that are within your circle so that we can continue to move forward. It's like me. And I've got a well, and I'm never going to be subject to the power of the man to get my water. But that means anybody in my circle is going to be capable of getting water too, because they know me. They know where I am. I know them. Our system is solid. Everybody needs to be in that same position. You need to have something to offer within your circle so that you guys can take care of each other. It's time. This is getting close. This is winding up. And we've never been closer in my lifetime, or any time that I can recall in our history prior to the Revolutionary War. We've never been closer to a kinetic form of defense. So, just God help us all. You got to pray. You got to stay in prayer. But you also have to be prepared. And all of it will work together in the end. Do not go through this thing in fear. Do not fear anybody. Only kneel to God. Don't kneel before any man. Don't let any man scare you. And if you are in a position where you have to fight or die, then choose to die on your own terms and fight your way out. That's just the way it's got to be. So, anyway, I know it's been a while since I've been on here. I apologize about that. I know I'm going to need your help to get the video out because my algorithm probably by now is dead. I don't think this video will be recommended to anyone. So if you happen to stumble across it, please give it a like, a share, a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know where you think we are right now. And until next time, y'all, stay in the fight.